Hi Caspar, on the 1st of August 2021, and we are in Tuscany here. This is really quite a mature super Tuscan, I guess it would have been called, yeah, in the days of old. This is a wine, 2005 vintage wine called Percarlo from a winery called Sangiovese Rentennano. I hope I've pronounced most of those words right. And I first had this courtesy of a lovely old Irishman who lived near here, and at dinner at his house he pulled out a couple of vintages of this wine, and it completely blew me away. And I must confess I didn't actually know the wine at all. I'd never heard of it, and he said was his favourite super Tuscan. And it's not far off mine, I've got to say. It's an extraordinary thing. So 100% Sangiovese, which is why, of course, it wasn't authorised for production of Chianti. And it is quite a mature colour. I mean, it's got a garnet bowl, but really quite mahogany at the rim, and deep. I mean, not quite opaque, and not far off opaque. This has been open. I opened it. I would say 4 hours ago probably, and decanted it half an hour ago. And it's really pretty tertiary, I must say. It's got smoke, that dry sort of brick dust, turmeric kind of smell. Snappy cherry fruit, dark cherry. It smells really quite fresh. And there's a bit of sort of licorice, but tobacco spice to it. It's got a real sort of spicy aspect to it. A bit of sort of tar almost, but that lovely dark snappy fruit, something a bit dried herb, a bit of dried sage or something. Lots going on. I mean, this is clearly mellowed and aged into something really quite complex and interesting. Well, I mean, that's if ever a red wine was made for food, that's it. Loaded with snappy, upright, fresh tannins right from the front of the palate, and the dark fruit that's just about surrounds those tannins and keeps them in check. I suspect this won't get any better. I think this is as good as it gets, or possibly is a year or two past as good as it gets. Fascinating, dark, earthy aromas, like sort of wet compost. Well, lots of bright acidity on the palate, and these tacky, grippy tannins with the piece of beef that I'm cooking at the moment, slow cooked blade of beef, will go very well. There's nice length. This particular structure pushes it long in the mouth, and yeah, it's not a Johnny come. Sorry, not wrong expression. It's not an easy thing to get your head around. I mean, there's a lot going on, and there's a large amount of structure in there. So it's not a sort of not a particularly approachable glass of wine. It certainly needs food with it. Those tannins are really impressive. I mean, they're architectural, they're clinging. Um, it's a big thing. It's there's a lot going on in there. I kind of would have liked to have tasted it 2 or 3 years ago just to see how it was then, and I'll continue to have a look at it, monitor it as it breathes and maybe relaxes some more. But it's a pretty extraordinary thing. It's not a cheap thing either, it must be said. You know, it's just proper super Tuscan territory. But anyway, that's been 2005 Percarlo from the winery Sangiovese at Rentennano in Tuscany, Italy. It's impressive is the wrong word. It's a fascination. It's a wine you need to think about. Certainly, it's fascinating.